Entering the fjord is something for itself. All of these waters comes from melting up in the mountains. This results in lots and lots of water steam that spreads out throughout the fjord. It turns into this rainbow mist all over colors, beautiful, wow landscape. I'm Ulrik Møller, and today we will go through our itinerary and program for exploring the fjords of Norway. I'm the co-owner of Good Time Sailing. Together with my wife Maria Yamosa, we are creating high-end moments in Sunnmøre. We are passionate about making sustainable, authentic and unique trips, and also all of our collaborating partners is also striving for the same aim as us. All our trips, all our journeys are off the beaten track, meaning an adventure with us will most likely not been done by your neighbors before you. I've been sailing for over 20 years. I've been visiting Sunnmøre for around 40 years. My father is from here, and my grandfather was a ferry captain around here. And I have a local knowledge and a broad network of collaborating partners, and also having the roots for this area. It's also special for me to share what you can say the hidden gems of the Sunnmøre area and also the Fjord district. What we will be covering today is a little bit about what Norway is known for, a general facts, and also a little introduction about the coast, sailing in the coast, and also the fjords, and what it will be like. Hiking and kayaking opportunities and general activity. Also a little bit about how it's like on board Jolly. Also the logistics around getting around and also getting back and forth to Ålesund. Now, what is a fjord and how was a fjord made? Basically, what you can see here is a landscape, a typical fjord landscape, where you have raging or peaks, mountain peaks that go straight up in the air. And this is created from glaciers, which basically is huge sheets of ice. And as the glacier moved through the landscape and down and out to the sea, they forced and pressed the mountain or the rock in front of it and out throughout to the sea. And basically they just carved out their own road through the mountains like this. And also underneath sea level, the formation and the topography is exactly the same. These fjords looks the same above level as they do underneath sea level. Norway is a very old country. As you see, we have a huge coastline, and this coastline has been the backbone of the country forever, and it still is. The earliest traces of human occupation in Norway along the coast, well, actually, that's where they found it, along the coast, before the big ice melted and created the fjords. And this happened between 11,000 and 8,000 BC. And then also, since we have the second largest coastline in the world, just after Canada, with reaching a length of 100,915 kilometers, included islands, islets, and basically the whole coastline. Here we have typically waters falling down or coming down from higher grounds. And Norway is known to produce lots of energy. We produce a fair bit of energy based on hydrocarbons, but most of our energy comes from hydroelectricity, and we produce more than 95% of our own consumption, and also we export the most of everything we produce to Europe. Modern and ancient skiing was invented in Norway. This one shouldn't come as no surprise given the Norwegian obsession with skiing, and also our success on international level. Skiing itself goes way further back than today, and an ancient rock carving at a Radøy in northern Norway shows that people used a form of skis to get around in the Norwegian mountains as long ago as 4,000 years ago. Also, another fun fact, despite our low population of a little more than 5 million people, we are the #1 medalist in all of the Winter Olympic Games so far. Sailing in the fjords, we are over to how people lived, and this farm in particular is one of my favorites. It is very steep and there's not many flat surfaces. And if there was a flat surface available where people can cultivate some land, then, and there wasn't any danger for avalanches or rockfalls or anything falling from above, they were made farm there or some kind of land. And here you can see how they just adapted the farm and constructed it way deep into a cleavage. You also see the pretty slick surface up here. This is every year when the avalanche comes, it just slides over the roof and continues down the hill, leaving the farm standing and protected. So this is a construction method that obviously was highly efficient and also left your farm useful for hundreds and hundreds of years. Norway is a natural amusement park for real. It's so many ways to explore the country, and basically is to use your own muscle power to go hiking, kayaking, skiing, climbing, or basically do whatever outdoor activities you like to do. It's so much opportunities and places to explore. And the picture to the right here is typical coastal history. This is buildings used during the time of the herring. This is probably something you have seen before, but not know where it came from. This is a Norwegian invention done by Thor Bjørklien back in 1925. Basically become a staple in Scandinavian homes. Hopefully around the world you might have seen it. Basically it's a cheese slicer. While someone still buy cheeses in blocks, we used to still use our own invention. We're very proud of it, to slice cheese from the block itself. Here we have an outline of our itinerary. We will start here. This is the area where we are. Ålesund is here, Oslo is here. So basically this is the east, this is the south, this is the west. Everything above here is north. We will be in the northwest, starting from Ålesund, going here to a bird sanctuary. We'll do some activities here and have a fun time, explore the coastal history and also the coastal maritime area. And before we would sail in to the fjord landscape, explore some more, and then through here and to the next fjord, explore even more, and back, and then out again to Ålesund. This will take us 8 days. Now I will actually 7 days. Day 8, you wake up, eat breakfast, and check out basically. This is our starting point and end point. This is Ålesund. Ålesund is a very, very beautiful city. It's actually 3 different islands. This is an island, this is an island, and this is an island. And in between them you have straits like this, connected with bridges. Ålesund was constructed in 1904. The city itself is much older, but before 1903 it was burned down completely, leaving 10,000 people without a house. And within a few years it was reconstructed into Art Nouveau style, and then also heavily decorated and modernized now into these beautiful buildings. This is old buildings used for fishery. Basically the fishing vessels came here and then offloaded their fish here, and then they stored their nets here, and then all of these were used as storage or had some kind of function during the herring season. So if you see these buildings in these colors, then you know that you're on the right side of the strait where we will be waiting. And also heavily decoration. Ålesund, the people that lives here, is very fond of keeping their city beautiful. First place, this is also Runde. This is a bird sanctuary. This is our first stop for the week. This is also a little society where time has been standing still. So it's quite cool to just walk around the area and see how the houses look, and, take a peek inside the window and then really look into a time machine. It's very exciting. And also here you can see houses and buildings and constructions that were used in the same way in Ålesund. Hang the nets for drying, to store things, and basically be adapted to an ancient form of industry. Now everything is moved out onto the boats, so these buildings has no function anymore. Runde is a bird sanctuary. Here we have over 250 different bird species, also lots of marine mammals such as seals. We have orcas, if you're lucky to see them. And also these beautiful, beautiful creatures. They are puffins, and it looks like a kind of miniature penguin somehow. And every evening they come in at the same time. If we make sure to sit on the top of the cliff to wait for them, and sit completely still, they won't even notice that we're there or care that we are there. So they will land down just beside us, and yeah, you can practically be some centimeters or some half a meter from a live puffin if you're lucky. They can grow up to 40 years old. That is the highest age ever registered of a puffin. They say also they can keep around 60 fishes in their beacon at the same time. So it's quite impressive to see this bird around. And they can also dive as deep as 60 meters. You also have the razorbill, which is another bird species that has been observed 250 meters below sea level. So these birds are quite agile, and they are really good flyers, they're good swimmers, they are fast and really, really beautiful to watch at. Other ducks, funny creatures that thrives in this atmosphere that we can have a look at. This is the topography of the island. Steep hillsides, flat areas, and on those flat areas, the few of them, there was put some houses so they can cultivate the land, and then these people probably collected eggs, they maintained the lighthouse. You see here, here's some land. This area here is full of shallows. So back in 1725, there was a freight vessel called Ankerendam that sailed out from the Netherlands, Texel, and there was 3 ships in total. 2 was never found. 1 sank here. It was a rumor about a treasure in this ship. And in 1960, there was a marine biologist that dived around this area in search of the treasure, didn't find anything. Everything was forgotten for 10 years before a Swedish guy named Peter Olsson in his early 30s dived together with his friend and found 57,000 gold coins. Some of them are displayed at the environmental center here in the island. Some of them went to Netherlands, some of them went to the Norwegian government, and most of it went to the founders. Hiking and kayaking opportunities. In this area, as I told you, Norway's backbone is for real along the coastline. This building here is called, this area here is called Flåvær. This is an old society where, if you can imagine, several hundred people working and living in this house every single winter. This house has served as a post office, a fishery station, trade stations, ever since the Hanseatic trade time, and that happened in the 1100 to 1300. So this area is also mentioned in the old Viking sagas. It has a true, authentic, old, beautiful history. And these societies were active all the way up until the 90s. And the buildings that you see here is actually the old school. This school was put down in the middle of the 90s, and they had their last student. But before that, it has educated all the inhabitants of the island. Also, the archipelago a bit further in is also very well protected in case the weather should be unkayakable further out. Here you see beautiful landscapes. This island is very unique, and it has very interesting history. During the Second World War, we had a gang, actually a gang of human smugglers called the Shetland Gang. And what they did, they smuggled people, VIPs, people with intelligence, people that were bringing intelligence to Norway about the Germans' whereabouts, what they were planning to do, what their plan was, secret documents and everything. They hide in this strait, and on this side there's a little hidden rock cabin where they were hiding in. If you can see here, there's a little stone here, and this is the actual passage. This is where you can pass to get in from seaside, but before you reach here, you need to pass a maze of land. And if you go here, you will hit land. So this is not marked in any way. So for the Germans or the resistance, they knew that any ship that came in this way will hit the ground. And if they came in here, there's land all over. Here is land. So basically, you go the right way or the highway. So there was no German warships trying to enter these waters just because the danger of hitting ground. So this little strait, it might look quite exposed. But if we go in the next picture here, this is the picture from the top of the mountain. Here you can see how well hidden it is from the north and actually also from the south. So the only way to actually see what's happening inside this little strait is either from this point or this point. There's also a little abandoned society here that was also helpful during the war. This is a little bit a simple picture about how the life back in the days, the simple life here was. You had a little house here where you lived in, a little barn, and then you have a little boathouse with access to the water. So you have basically everything you need in a little flat space. It's a very beautiful and very common land to see from back in the days. Fjord life. Now we will enter the Fjord Kingdom. There you go. This area is on its way into the Fjord Kingdom. It looks more or less like this. This is also a picture taken from inside the deckhouse of the boat. This is also another picture, but here you can see it has narrowed down and we are in the fjord itself. This fjord is called Fjorden, which is also a fjord that we will be visiting during the week on board. We will visit fjord farms. We will spend our night in this farm in particular. This farm has been run by the same family for over 500 years. They have a fantastic swing. Looking forward to swinging every time I'm here. Super cozy living room where we can sit, share a glass of wine, or eat some of their locally produced food. They serve wild game, also locally produced vegetables, goat meat. Also using this place as a start point for swing. Maria is also enjoying that swing a lot. And here you can see this farm is a perfect start point for fantastic hikes. And today, this day will be the hike day. We will find a peak behind the farm, which will give us panoramic views. And if you look at this ferry down here, this is actually a quite big ferry going in the fjord, and you can just see the proportions of the mountains with relations to the ferry, and also the pointy peaks. I think the landscape is blinding, basically. This is me, and here you can also see how the ice have shaped and formed these hillsides into this smooth, nice surfaces. And here also has been a glacier before. You can see that. Also ideal for skiing in the wintertime. Here you go, me and Maria enjoying our lunch. This is down back again, and also later at night. What happens in these latitudes is that we have in summertime almost no darkness. At the moment we have 24/7 of light. Here where I am now, I think it's just we have a blue hour, a couple of hours, and or 1 hour, and then it's light again. But later in August, June, July, August, the sun will be lower, and the point is that the sun doesn't go down; it just goes down and it stays there, and then it sort of goes up again, and it just goes a little bit under the horizon and then up again. And when that happens, it creates this burning sensation or burning colors in the sky that you see here, making pink, orange, yellow, and purple colors just burning and flaring up the whole sky. And this picture in particular has no filters. This is how it looks like in real life. Hey. All right, next day after hiking day. This is a day where we wake up early in the morning, and we are going to take our e-bikes, or we're going to rent some e-bikes and then bike through Norway's narrowest valley. Norangsdalen is the name of this valley. And as I said, it's the most narrowest valley with a road. Some places it's advised not to stand still just because of erosion, ice, snow. So we will take care and go through this valley very safely. Back in 1815, I can tell this story. It's quite interesting because there was a huge rockfall coming from the top of the mountain, or coming from the mountainside, and down to the bottom of the valley, changing the whole path of the river. So in the old part of the river that was now flooded just because of the change of the water flow, you can still see submerged infrastructure such as bridges, boathouses. We will go through everything when we are here. Also, the farmers still use this land as grass land for their cows. Back in the days, they used these cabins for making product out of the milk they were milking up here, because getting it out and back and down to the farm was too far. It became bad or not eatable before they could do it. So basically what they did was to make the cheeses and harvest or cultivate the milk in order to there, instead of doing it down in the farm, just in order to maintain it and keep it for the winter and also for sale. Reaching Hellesylt, we will take the ferry, which is this ferry, through this landscape. In this picture in particular, you can see two really beautiful farms. Actually, you can see three. One of them is over here, and you have this farm. This is called Knivsflå, and this is called Skageflå. And then also you have a hunting hut up here, which belongs to this farm. This farm was abandoned in 1913. The authorities thought that this whole part of the mountain was about to fall down into the sea. Believe that because it had happened before, and also in a neighboring fjord at a big rockfall from the sides, resulting in a big tsunami wiping out the village. So they were getting more and more aware of this, wanted to protect the farmer, so they forcibly moved the farm from this cliff down to the city of or the town of Geiranger. By the way, here you can also see the most recent rock slide in this fjord. It happened around 15 years ago, and it also flooded the lowest areas of Geiranger. This fjord is 260 meters deep. It's not the deepest, but it's quite deep. Here you have the farm called Skageflå. This was abandoned and run as a farm up until the 1960s. Back in the days, there were several reasons why people or why farmers chose to cultivate land here. This is a place which is very unreachable, and this farm in particular had one path up to it, and that was from the other side of this vertical wall. So basically, to enter the farm, you have to climb 700-meter vertical wall, including a ladder and including difficult paths. So every time the farmer heard rumors about the tax collector being in the village, he made the entrance inaccessible. And he did that by pulling up the ladder and kicking out away the stable stones in the path. So year after year, the tax collector has to return empty-handed. But that was before he found out that he can walk another way and down to the farm from where this picture is taken. So when he found out that, then there was no more saving money from this farmer. He probably needed to pay some extra tax, but that belongs to the history. Anyways, we are going to take you there, and this will be a really interesting place to be. This is the main building of Knivsflå. This has been down in Geiranger city and Geiranger downtown. Owning these farms or this heritage is more burden than it is a joy. And the thing is that maintaining these properties and maintaining or just doing slightly amount of work requires so much effort. You have to fly all the tools up, you have to fly materials up and everything. So in order to maintain this natural and national heritage, there was a hotel manager that established an organization called the Friends of the Great Fjord, that has as a mission of maintaining conditions and making sure that these farms is not falling apart in order to maintain the cultural heritage. And here you can also see avalanche line coming down to the fjord, and this is where they go every single year. This farm was wiped out a couple of years ago and then rebuilt. So here you can see where they keep their goats, and that's also what they serve on this beautiful restaurant. This is the town of Geiranger. This is the ferry. We will start here and then walk along here over this hill and then to the farm and then take the boat back. It's going to be super exciting. Entering the fjord, it's something for itself. I have to say, it's all of these waters comes from melting water. This year we have a mad amount of snow up in the mountains. This results in lots and lots of water steam or mist that spreads out throughout the fjord. And when the sun is in the right position, it turns into this rainbow mist all over colors, beautiful wow landscape. And also see here, it's just a gorge in the mountain that spews out millions and millions and millions of liters every second. It's so much water coming down from this hillside that you won't even believe it. This is the path up to the farm, Skageflå. Now it's modernized with some safety nets made accessible, so you don't need to think about hill climbing or anything. You can also see how they constructed things back in the days. This roof is actually made of moss and green vegetation. And as a sealant, it's the bark of one typical tree that does not rot in contact with water. So they found out this, and by using only natural materials, they were able to create a house that was having a watertight roof and a solid base, basically using natural materials and maintaining a house and keeping it for thousands of years. This is really, really, really impressive, and something that I think humans should look more into now in order to use the nature more as the best supplier of the materials we need. This is our lunch point. Here we're making some omelette, putting a little, crowning it a little bit with nice things for lunch, making some healthy cuisine. Here you can also see the architecture down in Geiranger. This is where they had the boats, and this is where they store their stuff. Now it's restaurants and also storage and used for private purposes. Back again to Hjørundfjorden. This is the place where we have the one and only vineyard in Norway. Here they produce their own wine and also ciders from different kinds of fruits, berries, and they also serve it together with a little bit of a little snack. We will stop here for a couple of hours just to check it out, and you will also see how people actually are living here, what people live off, and also how sustainable tourism work in practice. This picture here is from the most beautiful fjord crossing in the country. Here we have the village of Sæbø. This is the capital of the fjord. Here is Norangsdalen, and here is the end of the fjord, and this is towards Ålesund. So this is our last night. We will spend the night here, and early in the morning we will hike up to this fantastic viewpoint where we can hang our hammocks, bring our books, sit and relax, mesmerize, enjoy the memories of the tour, and also just relax and breathe in the fresh air. This is such a nice place. Now, the life on board. This is Jolly. She is 15 meters long, 5 meters wide, and she can accommodate 9 people in total. That's included Maria and myself. So we have in the front cabin here, all the way here, it's private and suite, double bed with toilet and shower. This is where me and Maria sleeps. And on the other side, we have a triple cabin looking like this. And this is the double cabin with the private and suite. Triple cabin with shared bathroom and shower. And this is the galley, and it also easily and comfortable accommodates everybody on board. This is where the stove where we make our food, and also the inside steering position. We also make picnics out on deck. We have a huge deck space, and new for the year is we bought these tiny camping chairs that is ideal to just put around deck, so you can sit there, enjoy a glass of lemonade or wine or whatever you like, while also just seeing the landscape and being present. This is me and Maria, well, wishing you welcome. And also this is Ramoncito, our little puppy dog and mascot. He is also very, very kind. And also sustainability is key for whatever we do. We put everything into purchasing local food. That means everything from potatoes to carrots to shellfish from the local fishermen, and also taking care of the future in our way. Also, we bake our own bread. We serve home fish. This is mackerel. Also in mackerel season in the midsummer, it's pretty easy to get a decent amount of dinner in just a couple of minutes. Also, Maria is very, very, very good chef from Colombia. Here is a Peruvian dish, ceviche, which is very delicious. And also here is a dish from called apple crust. It's from North America, I believe. It's basically sweetened apples with some nice crust. Here you can see our guests. We have a group of friends here, sitting and relaxing, a little picnic on deck. Also families. This is a group of youngsters, 18 to 25, couples, big group of 12 as maximum. And here you can also see the farm basically. It's the one that was Skageflå, where I was talking about earlier. And you enter here and go through this forest, and then you go across this line here. You can also see it's carved out of the mountain. Fishing in the fjords. plenty of possibilities to get decent sized fish that will feed us. It's really good fishing inside here, and also the waters can be expected to be around between 18 and 22 degrees. Inside the fjords you have a whole different climate than you have outside, further out in the coast, and you can expect between 5 and 10 degrees in temperature difference, being hotter in the fjords. The fjord have so high mountains and it creates this hot pot effect. Here we have more cozy times in Jolly. Big group of friends here. Ramoncito enjoying the view. And in the event if it gets cold, for instance, we are well prepared with suits for everybody on board. These suits work as a floating device as well as heating suits. You can use them all year long. They are really comfortable and warm. And also in the event we have lots of kids on board, we adapt the trip to be for that. Logistics. I guess you as a person watching this like to be outdoors and knows also a little bit about what it takes to reach a peak from sea level or from low level to high level. This is probably or maybe the first time you have gone from sea to 1600-1700 meters. Some parts can be quite steep, so it's not wrong to be in good shape, but if you're in bad shape I think you should come anyway, because if you want it enough you will do it. Or can you say it's not that difficult. And as well, if we have a group of very good physical shape, a group of not so good physical shape, we will do different things and adapt. So there's no particular skills required, neither when it comes to kayaking, sailing, biking, or hiking. Bring your hiking gear and then that's it. At sea, me and Maria will sail the boat, and the kayak trips will be guided by local guides. The hiking and cycling trips will also be guided by me. Now we're back to Ålesund, and getting back and forth to Ålesund can be done by daily flights from Europe directly to Ålesund or through Oslo. There's also buses that leaves from Oslo. It takes around 8 hours, and they will be in 8 hours of beautiful scenery, so it's not a bad alternative either. The meeting point will be Brosundet, which is Ålesund city harbor. It's very easy to get to Brosundet, also because the bus stops there. You will see it. Ålesund is super tiny. And we will also send you a pin, so you can just follow the pin and it goes straight to the boat. Airport bus goes straight to the marina, and it takes only 20 minutes from airport. Then it's basically 5 minutes and then you are in the boat. Another option coming from the south, for instance Bergen, Trondheim, you can take Hurtigruten. That will take you more or less 12-13 hours, meaning if you're coming from Bergen, you can enter the boat at around 9 and then you will exit around 9 the next day in Ålesund, being downtown Ålesund. It's also a quite affordable and comfortable way of traveling. You don't need the hassle of the airports or anything like that. If you come from Bergen or Trondheim, that is. Trip duration, that's 7 days plus 1 morning. You check out after breakfast the day 8. This is because we will use the last day to sail and we just keep the beds open for an extra night, and this will be the date. Yeah, and then in September we will get back to you when it will be. We have a group of 4 to 7 people. What will be included is me, an experienced and certified local skipper with extensive knowledge of the area. All the food on board and all the nice juices on planned restaurants and activities. Also all the boat expenses and also the sailing trip itself. If you want to use the dinghy to go fishing or just explore, then that's perfectly fine. Also keep in mind that me and Maria, we only serve and purchase local and nice, healthy, often vegan and vegetarian, sometimes catch of the day. So you will eat healthy every single day. What is not included is transportation back into the harbor, also alcoholic beverages throughout the trip, and that's it. You not included is also your insurance. You need to cover that part yourself also. Do you feel ready to join the crew? Thank you for everybody to take your time to listen to what I have to say. Hope you found it interesting, and hope to see you on board, and hope to see you in the northwest of Norway, cruising and sailing the coast and the fjords together with us.